It was a cold, foggy morning when we arrived at St. Michael's Church. My mother tightened my jacket, the wind howling around us. "Hurry up! We shouldn't be late for Mass," she said, her voice trembling slightly. I never liked Sundays. The church always felt too cold, the hymns too long, and the smell of old books and damp stone irritated my nose. But that day was different, because that was the day I saw her. She sat at the very last pew, hands resting in her lap, staring straight ahead. Her attire was old-fashioned, something out of an ancient photograph: delicate lace sleeves, a high-necked dress, a long skirt that seemed out of place among the modern coats and scarves of the congregation. Her hair was neatly tied back, though a few strands curled around her pale face. I nudged my mother. "Mom, who is that?" "Who, dear?" She was flipping through her prayer book, not even looking up. "That woman, sitting in the back," I whispered. Mom turned slightly, her eyes scanning the pews. Then she frowned. "What are you talking about? There's no one there." A cold shiver ran down my spine. I looked again, and for a fleeting moment, just a moment, I thought she was looking right at me. Her lips moved slightly, and I could swear I heard a whisper. I turned back to my mother. "Mom," she suddenly. The organ music began, cutting me off. The entire Mass I felt her presence. I didn't dare turn around. But I knew. I knew she was watching me. The weight of her gaze bore down on my shoulders, heavier than the cold stone walls of the church. After the service, I finally gathered the courage to look back. The pew was empty. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, her lips moving as if trying to say something. But what? What was she trying to tell me? The next Sunday, she was there again. This time, I didn't tell my mother. Instead, I watched her closely. I noticed she never blinked. Her hands trembled slightly, as if she were holding something invisible. I tried to read the movement of her lips. "Help me!" I gasped, my heart pounding so hard it hurt. This time I told my father, "Dad, do you see her? The woman sitting in the back." Dad barely glanced. "Who?" "The woman. She's staring at us." Dad frowned. "Son, there's no one there." My hands turned icy. My throat dried up. But I turned again. She was gone. Days passed, but the feeling didn't. The whisper, the shiver, the fear. Like someone was watching me. And then the knocking started, soft yet distinct. 3 knocks, every night, always at 3:15 a.m. One night I gathered the courage to open the door. Nothing. But when I turned to the window, there was faint condensation, and on it, written in shaky, trembling letters, "Help me!" I stumbled back, my breath coming in short gasps. My body felt frozen. It was real. She was real, and she needed my help. Finally, I made up my mind. The next Sunday, when I arrived at church, I knew she would be there. But this time, I was ready. I walked straight to her, looking into her eyes. "Who are you? Why do you need my help?" Her lips moved again, but this time sound followed. A whispering, trembling voice. "Take me home. My soul is lost. Help me find peace." Just then, the church bells rang, their echoes filling the air. A chilling cold spread through the church. Suddenly she began to fade into mist, the blood in her eyes disappearing. I reached out for her, but she vanished completely, and silence filled the church. After that, I never saw her in the church again. The knocking stopped, the nightmares faded. Maybe she had finally found peace. But even now, when I'm alone and hear a soft whisper, my heart clenches in fear, because what if she never really left and she's still watching?